I made some predictions in my previous video about the Kendrick and Drake beef, and I gotta say, I am proud of myself. Now, I was not right about everything, but this is panning out exactly the way I thought it would. So Kendrick responds to Drake's push-ups and tailor-made diss tracks with a 6-minute track called Euphoria. And no, this song is not Kendrick doing lyrical gymnastics or writing quintuple entendres like Drake and really all of Kendrick and Drake fans expected. Kendrick is rapping clearly and directly, and I predicted that people would try to downplay Kendrick's record because he didn't write some Shakespearean level diss track, and that's exactly what they're doing. But what Kendrick was really doing was trying to be as clear and as coherent as possible to break down Drake's intentions and Drake's character in the music industry, so we didn't really have to guess what Kendrick was saying. With that being said, there are a couple bars in here that I do feel like are maybe a little bit deeper than what we're seeing, like why the record is called Euphoria in the first place. Now, Drake executive produced a really popular TV show called Euphoria, and initially I thought this was Kendrick just on his genius SEO marketing strategy. Every time someone types in Drake Euphoria, Kendrick's song comes up. But then again, one of the main things that happens during the show Euphoria is just teenagers having sex. Why is Drake executive producing a show where teenagers are constantly having sex? But considering that, it made me think about this next bar a little bit deeper. I make music to electrify them. You make music to pacify him. On the surface, Kendrick is just saying his music is exciting and Drake's is boring. But the use of the word pacify could be strategic here. Pacify means to soothe. It's like, you know, pacifying a baby, pacifying a child. And we all know what a pacifier is. So maybe he's kind of leaning into the whole Drake is a pedo type of thing. And Drake did predict that Kendrick would say that Drake likes young girls, and we talked about that before, so there's something cooking there. But as I take you through the rest of the track, there's nothing in this song that's extremely layered. Like, sure, people are gonna dissect it to the craziest degree, but for the most part, Kendrick was as clear as he possibly could be. Kendrick starts off the record by doing the classic reversed audio. Ooh, so cryptic. What could it possibly say?
Everything they say about me's true.
Everything they say about me's true. Tommy Hilfiger stood out, but FUBU never had been your collection. Now, Tommy Hilfiger has been long rumored to be an anti-black racist. FUBU is a black-owned clothing brand. So Kendrick is basically saying that Drake chooses to side with someone who is allegedly anti-black, but Drake has also worn FUBU before, so I'm not really sure Kendrick is 100% factual here. But one of the main angles throughout this entire diss track that Kendrick takes is actually what Rick Ross has been saying on social media this whole time. That Drake is a white boy, or isn't black enough, or has always tried so hard to be accepted by black culture. How many more fairy tale stories about your life till we had enough? How many more black features till you finally feel that you're black enough? Kendrick also said, I even hate when you say the N-word. But that's just me, I guess. And then the outro of Euphoria is him saying, nobody wants to hear Drake say the N-word anymore. So there's a beat switch around the 1 minute mark that really turns up the energy. The beginning was slow and somber and almost romantic. I thought my prediction of him making a pop record was going to come to fruition, because if you remember, that's what I thought he should do. So I was like, damn, bro, I might have had this on the money, but it turns up into a rap record for sure. But after the beat switch, like, Kendrick is mostly focused on making a hot record for the radio. It's not very diss heavy in the beginning, but I thought these bars were funny. The very first time I shot me a Drake, the homie had told me aim it this way. I didn't point down though. Today I show you I learned from those mistakes. Drake previously said that Kendrick never shot a gun or never did any type of violent crimes. Was this Kendrick saying, yeah, I have shot a gun and here's the story? Probably not. This was just Kendrick saying that he's going for Drake's head, you know, headshot. Come on. Kendrick said, yet he still go left, and I see two of them kissing and hugging on stage. Now, Drake is known for giving people their flowers on stage and telling the world how great they are, basically kissing and hugging them without actually physically doing it. But there is also a picture of The Weeknd and Drake where they look like they are about to kiss, and, you know, the internet's gonna do what it does and Photoshop them actually kissing. He's also saying that Drake goes left, aka Drake is gay, which Kendrick says throughout the song multiple times that he thinks Drake is gay. We hate the bitches you f*** because they confuse themselves with real women. When I see you stand by Sexy Red, I believe you see two bad bitches. I believe you don't like women. That's real competition. You might pop ass with that. Kendrick is diabolical for this one. Drake definitely thinks he's a bad bitch. One thing we know for sure is Kendrick pays attention to the memes. He pays attention to the internet because we've been saying Drake's a bad for years. This run of bars is also really fire. I love him to death. And that ain't bars. I'll explain that phrase. It's nothing nobody can tell me. I don't want to talk on no celly. You know I got language barriers. There's no accent you can sell me. Which is him pointing at Drake's multiple fake accents, which I don't feel like people talk about enough. Drake can speak 9 different dialects, and just no matter where he is in the world, he's gonna just pick up on their accent. It's weird, and nobody ever really talks about it. Yeah, Cole and Aubrey know I'm selfish. The crown is heavy. I pray they my real friends. If not, I'm YNW Melly. Kendrick said he was gonna explain it. I love him to death. Melly loves his friends to death. Love him so much that you might kill them. Like Melly allegedly killed his friends. Yeah, fuck all that pushing P. Let me see you push a T. You better off spinning again on him. You think about pushing me. Kendrick is also saying what we've all been saying, like, Drake, why are you going after Kendrick? Why not push a T? I just always think back to Drake on the podcast being like,
when I was making the record, in Response, which was a real record, I know people think it's like some myth. And I just found myself saying things that, like, one, seemed really out of character just because I was like deeply invested in the situation and getting very angry, and saying things that I don't know if in 2 years I'd want to hear myself say.
Really? Just drop the record, bro. Kendrick says that people know him as a lover, but he's a hater too. I hate the way you walk, the way that you talk. I hate the way you dress. I hate the way you sneak diss. And this is where I'm doubling down on my thought that people are going to use this little run of bars as a way to devalue Kendrick's diss because it's blunt and direct rather than being some quintuple entendre. Again, people thought this was going to be this insanely deep writing that you needed an explanation for, but there's pretty much nothing in this song that you really need an explanation for. Like, it's very clear. So for a lot of people, it's going to seem like their expectations were not met. Like, look at my word for word prediction. People be like, damn, really took him 2 weeks to come up with this? This is what he was waiting for? And then look at this tweet. Can't believe Kendrick made his fans wait all this time for this Drake response. Drake was playing chess, bro. He knows all of you are bots. Your tweets, your words are predictable. Now, I did want Kendrick to make more of a pop record, but I personally like that Kendrick went more simple. It's Drake. He doesn't need to prove to the world or to Drake that he is a better writer and rapper than him. Speaking of writers, Kendrick talks heavily about Drake's Ghostwriters, which is something that's been talked about for years. Ain't 20v1. It's 1v20 if I gotta smack dudes that write with you. Yeah, bring 'em out too. I clean 'em out too. Tell Beam that he better stay right with you. Drake probably has more than 20 ghostwriters, but Beam is a renowned songwriter who was also on my first album. Okay? Not to brag, but Drake uses Beam. Kendrick alleges that Drake needs Beam to make his hits, says Beam wrote Rich Flex and Major Distribution, and, you know, Beam also threw me a little song from my album a few years ago. And it's fire. You should listen to it. Kendrick also said, we ain't gotta get personal. This a friendly faith. You should keep it that way. I wasn't a big fan of this. Like, Kendrick saying that they shouldn't get personal in the diss track, in my opinion, was like kind of breaking the entertainment value a little bit. We all know Drake and Kendrick are not going to be fighting and shooting each other, but like, you don't have to say it. He said, I know some shit about dudes that make Gunna wanna look like a saint. Now, the public thinks that Gunna snitched on the YSL organization, but Kendrick is hinting that he knows some shit about snitching or federal informants in Drake's life, but he doesn't say it here. And you will notice in this track multiple times Kendrick says that he could say more, like, if you taking it there, I'm taking it further. Like, bro, this is a 6-minute song. If you have more to say, now would be the time to say it. I also like how Kendrick continuously compliments Drake while dissing him. I like Drake with the melodies. I don't like Drake when he act tough. You gonna make me bring back Puff. Let me see if Chubbs really crashed something. Now, there's been a rumor for years that Diddy once slapped Drake, and Chubbs is Drake's head of security. So Kendrick is like, let's see if Chubbs will do anything to protect you. Still love when you see success. Everything with me is blessed. Keep making me dance, waving my hand, and it won't be no threat. Again, he's just complimenting him. Try and cease and desist on the Like That record. Oh, what? You ain't like that record? Back to back, I like that record. I guess Drake tried to copyright strike or take down Like That for some reason or somehow. I'm not really sure if that's true, But Kendrick again compliments Drake and says that he liked his back-to-back record, which was a diss track against Meek Mill. Let your core audience stomach that. Didn't tell him where you get your abs from. BBL Drizzy? Okay. Did Drake get fake ab implants? Was Rick Ross telling the truth? Drake BBL paperwork coming soon. Then throughout the track, Kendrick also made fun of Toronto slang in this sort of mocking way, saying the word crody and said, you gotta be cheesin', fam. Perhaps Kendrick is trying to ignite the new East Coast versus West Coast beef, but it's Toronto versus LA. Kendrick also said that he hangs out at a popular Toronto Chinese food spot called New Ho King. He also addressed Drake alleging that Kendrick is being extorted by his label. He also had a run of bars calling Drake a deadbeat dad, and that rap is not the only thing Kendrick cares about because he is too busy raising his son. W Father Kendrick. Now there are people in my comments of my last video saying, oh, this video aged like milk, but I'm sticking to everything that I said in that video. Overall, Kendrick's angles in this record were not that shocking because nobody can outdo Pusha T and what he revealed to the world. All of the angles that Kendrick took in this record we have heard before. We've heard them for years from other people, from people on Twitter, from other rappers. I still think Drake will be seen as the winner to the public because he just played the chess game better. He boosted the expectations and the anticipation for Kendrick to drop an ether level diss track. It makes it seem like we waited all this time for something huge and kind of got gypped. Don't get me wrong, Euphoria is definitely a solid diss record and it is entertaining. If we are just comparing the two, I would say that Euphoria does beat Push-Ups in terms of it being a better diss record. But Push-Ups is more fun to listen to as it's a partial club record, which is why I still think that Kendrick should have went for more of a pop record. But at the end of the day, this beef is just two filthy rich grown men writing poems about each other.